Ray Case, public speaking, persuasive speech. Panning through. Pan, you can acknowledge the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to hand this off into the audience. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Rochelle Case, and I will be giving you a persuasive speech on lobbying today. So, what I want to talk about is lobbyists at their finest. So it has been long accepted truth in Washington that lobbyists actually write their own bills. So the purpose of the speech is to enlighten and show the truth on the dangerous world of lobbyists and what exactly do they do. Now, big oil companies are spending millions on lobbying on just the government. So oil companies are controlling the Congress. Big oil companies have a massive influence in our government. And according to an article, Big Oil, Big Influence, written by Lindsay Mayer, written in 2008 during the Bush administration, $393.2 million were spent on lobbying the federal government. Then Energy Policy Act of 2015, which was based on recommendations of Cheney's Energy Task Force, was rolled back regulations on the oil industry because they were considered burdensome and included exemptions from the clean water laws. So, how much is actually written by these big companies with these bills? So, some bills are passed in secret, and sometimes they're not even written by a congressman. Sometimes they're written by the wealthy companies. For example, U.S. Scott Tipton released a draft bill last month addressing the environmental sensitive Thompson divided region on the western slope. And this actually raises eyebrows because the oil company SG Interest previously penned in a bill that was actually quite similar. And what I'm going to do is pass by the actual bill that was written by the SG Interest oil company. And this bill, everything that is highlighted in this bill is verbatim what was written in the bill that is actually passed in our Congress. So the article, How Much Did Representative Scott Tipton Copy from His Biggest Donor by Center of the Western Party, says, as the Denver Post reported earlier this month, the draft bill was written largely by the energy company, and it was also Tipton's largest campaign contributor. In this bill, there's only 7 sentences that were rewritten for legal purposes. So now that we know that that these big oil companies or other big wealthy companies such as Wells Fargo, which is another example, are writing their own bills, why would they actually be allowed to write their own bills and allow the congressmen to sign off on them and allow them to become bills? Well, actually, the story goes, when you become elected as a Congress, there's only your very first job when you're elected is to figure out how to become reelected. And that is the problem that we actually have in society when it comes to the Congress and our government, is the fact that the only way for a congressman to be reelected is for them to partner with large companies, because these large companies not only give them billions of dollars, but they also tell them that we will make sure that you can get reelected. So, companies like Wells Fargo and big other oil companies, they partner up with the congressmen to get the bills that they want to pass that are for their interest, and then they promise to the congressman that you will become reelected when the time comes. So, as a conclusion of what we've talked about today, we talked about lobbyists and exactly what they do and why they do it. And we also talked about how the big rich companies are writing their own bills for the congressmen to pass in our government. And we also talked about why a congressman feels obligated to have to do that. And so one little thing I would like to say about it that I thought could help is if congressmen had to show what lobbyists are actually supporting them, and they're also supporting them. So let's say, you know, one congressman is supporting this big oil company, they should have it in public record that they are actually being supported by this lobbyist. So I want to appreciate everybody for coming to my speech today. Again, my name is Rochelle Case, and thank you for listening.
Good job.
Go Paul.
I'm not doing that again.
Isn't the lobbyists awful?
They're awful.
To a certain extent,
No, they're
because
awful.
as a business major, I can understand that you would want certain bills
The
to be
congressmen are not
passed.
going to read it, so they depend on lobbyists to give it to them. Hey, so what is it about?
Yeah.
So
I
what's
mean,
be needed?
Yeah.
This was written by an oil company, and this is a bill that was passed.
I know.
And all they did was they had one of their lawyers make sure it looked legally right before they signed the bill.
Right.
And then they gave them a couple $1 million and said thank you. You know, I mean, I don't have an issue with lobbyists. I don't have an issue with a business worrying about their interest of their company, but I do have a problem with them paying off our government to get it done. That's a major problem.
But then, yeah, all the other congressmen have to, okay.